Students, so this is video 1, so we will continue with the topic of unit 3 administration and nursing management. So in this we will see today maintenance of physical and therapeutic environment in nursing unit, safety measures that has to be taken. Okay, we'll also deal with in disaster management. So firstly, providing physical and therapeutic environment is important to the patient, and it is a main responsibility also of a nursing service department and its administration. As we know, patients seek admission in the hospital because of some physical or mental ailment or illness. Every patient has their own personal traits and social position as well as social status. Every patient has the right to receive good quality of medical as well as nursing care to get cured. The spread of recovering depends upon nursing care given by the quality of nurses and nurse administrators. A nurse and nurse supervisor must remember that the body, mind, and spirit as well, the basic needs for love, the maintenance of dignity and social responsibility or relationship need to be met. So physical environment must be maintained by knowing the profile of patient. So it's important that we give them a physical and therapeutic environment, because we know, according to their status, their educational, this thing, it might vary, and based upon the needs of the patient, irrespective of caste, religion, their, educational status or economic status, the care has to be given to, each person, respecting their status, their relationship, so there is a longing within them for attention, for love. So as a nurse, we've got to deal with them in such a way that they are comfortable. Okay, so profile of a hospital patient. A patient is a person and a member of the society in need of medical and nursing care. So that's the reason they come, right? So when there is a need for medical and nursing attention or nursing care, he is not an object or not a disease entity. When he comes to the hospital, he brings along with him all his emotions, all his need for individuality and his need of independence. So when they come, because they are patient, we cannot treat them bad. They have their own dignity, they have their own emotions. So as a nurse, we should be able to treat them well, and there is a level of freedom also that is given for them. A hospitalized patient is under great stress. The reason of his stress or unfamiliarity with the hospital surroundings, loss of independence, separation from family, financial problem, isolation from the people, lack of information, fear of death and anxiety with treatment modalities and the attitudes of caregivers. Okay, so when they come in, we know that they also have a lot of anxieties, or they might be, not very comfortable based on these various reasons, because they know that now they are going to be dependent. They don't have that independence. They're missing their family, friends, for children's school. Then lack of information, fear of death, what is exactly happening within me. So anxiety will be there regarding treatment modalities and attitude of caregivers. So all these things are actually a stress in the patient, so it has to be dealt. That's the reason as nurses we are trained, we study about psychology, so we get to know about various personalities and how to deal as a nurse, and sociology, different cultures, so their thoughts and beliefs. So basically we learn this, so that we would be able to implement according to their cultural differences. And as a nurse, we should be there for the patient as a guide, as a guide, as a counselor. Okay, and whenever required, to meet the psychological needs of the patient. Talking about the environment, among the factors contributing to the patient's speedy recovery are those from environment. The nurse is plays an important role when it comes in the part of environment. The attitude of the head nurse towards a patient is of paramount importance. Never for moment shock. She lets members of her staff forget their nursing, human beings and not diseases. The environment has other aspect, that is physical aspect. Under physical environment, male elements are, we have to maintain cleanliness, proper orderliness, hygiene, neatness, ventilation should be adequate, lighting should be adequate, should be noise free, well functioning of the equipments that we are going to use for the patient, and then housekeeping, mopping, making sure that no noxious things are kept around, like bedpan, or urinals, or the vomiters, if the patient has vomited, sputum cup, then and there, cleaning it and keeping it for the next use. Okay, so when we talk about the cleanliness, again we know, how So in the clean environment we have to provide, make sure all the floors and walls are clean, free from pathogenic organism. And then it is important that, so that it doesn't transmit infection from one patient to the other patient. So we have to make sure that proper cleaning of the floors is done, walls is done, furnitures are done, instruments are done, utensils that are used for the patient, and every instrument that is used to the patient also should be kept neat and clean. And then housekeeping department only plays an important role. So they play, okay, so housekeeping department plays an important role. So cleanliness prevents bad smell in units, okay. So these are all self-explanatory, so you should be able to write, just go through the notes. So orderliness, all the things has to be kept in the order properly. Whichever equipment you are taking, make sure you place it in the right place, okay. It should not be just thrown in the floor or just like that. You should not keep, there should be a particular places where you have to keep, so whenever it is required it should be used, so without wastage of time. And instruments after use, we have to make sure it is kept clean and neat. Then ventilation, we know that there should be adequate ventilation, and lighting should be there. The temperature of the room should be maintained, which will provide comfort and health to the patient. Humidity also we have to take care, okay. If it is more humid, then air conditioning. Usually if you see in critical units, you do have AC which is available, okay. And then making sure that adequate lighting also is there, because direct sunlight also is very important, because it kills the bacteria, harmful bacteria. Then noise, making sure that you have noise proof walls. If not, make sure that patient is actually kept away from any kind of noise that can actually disturb their relaxation or rest time. So if you are playing, in certain hospitals, in certain wards they play music, okay. So if they are playing, it should not be too loud. If somebody is not very happy with it, try to reduce the volume or try to stop it, okay. So nurses should reduce the volume of radio or television that is there. So in wards also you see television, so all this has to be kept in low tone. Even when team members, okay, or the nursing personnel, when they are handling, they cannot scream, or they should also make sure that they keep their voice at low tone. Then housekeeping, so brushing, cleaning, all these things are required, okay. And whatever resources are needed, okay, making sure that are provided, like phenol, or whatever kind of washing solution, everything has to be provided. Then clean of the linen, dressing of the patient, everything has to be cleaned. It should look good and prevent infection. Then well functioning of equipments, make sure that every equipment that you are using, it could be from BP monitoring, like a sphygmomanometer, or smallest of like thermometer, to ventilator machine. Make sure that everything is functioning properly. Do periodical checking, and then see if there is any damage, call the biomedical technician and get it ready. Okay, so so all these are coming: cleanliness, orderliness, ventilation of and lighting, noise, housekeeping. After that we have well functioning of the equipment, and then under that you have supplies, making sure that all the supplies are there. And then if any supply is running out, make sure that you put an inventory, okay. And do an indent, go to the store, send somebody and get it and keep it ready, okay. So that has to be done. So creation of a friendly environment also is very important, and use of a aseptic technique. So when we say creation of a friendly environment, make sure that there is a therapeutic environment that is maintained, where the patient's physical need, emotional need, clinical need must be fulfilled, and patient should be satisfied. And then aseptic technique, making sure that you are following all the universal precaution, doing sterilization, sending the equipment for autoclaving, and keeping everything sterile for dressing, okay, for all the procedures, so that whenever required we can handle the patient in a safe manner. So these are the various points that are included when it comes to maintenance of physical and therapeutic environment in nursing unit. Next we will see how we should prevention of accidents and safety measures. So policies and procedures in different units. So you have different according to the policies in each institution, okay. They have their own set of policies, so making sure that it is followed. In the ward, it is also based on the department or the ward, so likewise we have to maintain the required care for the patient. The nursing service unit, in order that a good standard of nursing care should be maintained, the nursing superintendent should develop written policies and procedures to serve as guide for nurses of the various units of hospital, important topics that should be incorporated as are follows. So all these things has to be included when it comes to different organization or institution. So that's what we are seeing now. So it should be about organization, status and relationship, responsibilities of the team members, then staffing pattern, shift pattern, requisition of supplies, that is the intent that we do, utilization, care and maintenance equipment. So whatever equipment we are using or whatever equipments are there in the ward, making sure that the proper indent is done, checking and maintenance of the equipment is done. Then patient admission procedure, including communication with doctors, nursing procedure, coordination with domestic services, handling of patients' clothing and valuables, dealing with verbal or telephone order, medical staff. So coordination with domestic services, other people, and then handling of patients' clothing, their valuables. So we know that whenever there is any valuables of the patient, you should write in the nurse's report to whom you are handing over, write down what all you are handing over and take that sign of the, to whomever, it can be spouse or parents or patient, take witness signature, because tomorrow they should not say that they were wearing diamond ring and nurse took it away and went. Okay, so be very, very cautious when you carry out that. And these policies should be included. So according to the hospital policy, you will have to find out. Then dealing with verbal or telephonic orders, medical staff. So usually how would you take a medical order, which is very important. Now a doctor is calling and telling sister or brother, start this medication. So you didn't understand. So will you write your own medicine? No, you should not write. What should you do? You have all the rights to tell the doctor, doctor, can you please spell the medicine? So when he spells, write it down in the drug chart and write phone order given by doctor so and so, whatever his name is, write his name and time. Should write his the time and which doctor gave, and write down whether it is tablet, injection. In the drug sheet directly you should write and mention that in the nurse's report. Okay, then handling and control of narcotics and dangerous drugs. Why should we maintain? Because it's expensive, and some hospitals you see nurses stealing and using because it gives a sedative. Okay, it is like a drug. Okay, so we have to be very careful, and we don't take all these. As a nurse, you maintain your own dignity and be truthful and genuine. Don't go and steal cotton and go to your house. Don't steal syringes. If there is a need, you inform to your staff, okay, in charge, and then ask them. Don't steal. Okay, don't steal anything that belongs to the hospital. If you're caught, it will be very bad, right? So that all matters, little amount. We can spend and buy from our money. Anyways, when we are earning, you have money to buy it, right? So you have to be very careful. If at all you are in need of something, ask the in charge and say, can I take little of this? If it is permissible, then that will be given to you. So we don't take anything, from the patient side or from the hospital. So dealing with verbal, I told you that. Handling and control of narcotics, isolation techniques, communicable disease has to be maintained. Control, prevention of hospital infection, safety, hospital hazards, accidents, fire, care and maintenance of furnishing, standards of temperature, ventilation, light, public relations, release of patient information to others, maintaining confidentiality. All these you have studied in your first year. Just we are going through it, okay? And then, okay. And then you are visiting hours, dealing with visitor health, education to patients, and then briefing of visitors and relatives, transfer of patients, records and reports, private nurses, home nurses, if your hospital has that facility, and then use of restraint discharge procedures, including communication to business office and others. Procedure, LAMA, you know that, and procedure following death of patients. So common accidents that can occur in the hospital are falls. Patient can just fall off like that. So we have to be very careful in handling the patient. And then slip hazards, fire, sharp injuries, needle stick injuries. It can happen even to the staff's accidents due to electric shock circuit. Okay, so these are the various common accidents that can happen in the hospital. Okay, so we'll continue with the safety measures that we have to do in environmental safety, fire safety. All these are, already what you have studied. So we will just rush through it. So keep open spaces free of crowd. Okay, CROWD. There's a spelling mistake. Clearly mark fire exit. So you should mark where is the fire exit. and know the location of all the fire alarms, exit and extinguishers, know the telephone number for reporting fires, know the fire drill, evacuation plan of the agency. Never use the elevators in events of fire. Okay, we'll have to use only the stairs. Turn off oxygen appliances in the vicinity of fire. Priority actions in the events of a fire. Remember the race to set priorities, that is rescue. Remove all the client from vicinity of fire whenever there is a outbreak of fire in the hospital. And then alarm, you have to activate the fire alarm. Report a fire before attempting to extinguish it. And then confine, close doors and windows where fire is detected. So if one room is burning, try to close it. Okay, and then extinguish the fire using the appropriate fire extinguishers. So usually even in our college also we have fire extinguishers, in the school it is there, and then in the hospitals also it is available. So you should be able to know how to use that fire extinguishers also. And then not using this, the elevators or the what do you call them as elevator, lift. Okay, so making sure that you use the stairs. Okay, confine, close all the windows, and then particular room where there is outburst. So once it happened in Hebbal, this Columbia Asia. So what they did near that esteem mall, no? So there actually there was outbreak of leakage of the fire, and then they had to shift from this Hebbal. They shifted Columbia Asia. They shifted them to Yeshwanthpur, Columbia Asia. So it was very difficult to handle patients with ventilator. Nurses had to do it in the hand with ambu bag. So being very cautious, so that if any life is in danger, then it is not good. Okay, so we are held responsible. So this is for fire safety. Next, talking about using, how do we use this fire extinguisher? So it is, remember, pass, PAS. So there we say race, here it is pass to use a fire extinguisher. So pull the pin. So there is a pin, so you can pull the pin. Aim at the base of the fire. So from where fire, you don't do at the top where the fire is there, but from the ground, from the base where it is, the fire is coming, and then squeeze the handles. You have to squeeze the handles and sweep the fire from side to side. So make sure as you squeeze, do it at the side to side on the fire. So in an event of a fire, the client is on life support. Maintain respiratory status manually, that is ambu bag, ambulatory bag. And then until the client is moved away from the threat of the fire. Then in the event of a fire, ambulatory clients can be directed to walk by themselves to a safe area, and in some cases may be able to assist in moving clients in wheelchairs. In some cases, transfer techniques needs to be used. So all the transfer techniques we have to use. Make sure that you use wheelchairs and stretchers if required. Bedridden clients are moved from the scene of fire by stretcher. Next, talking about the electrical safety. So electrical equipments must be maintained in good order and should be grounded well. Use a 3-pronged electric cord. So whenever you use a cord, it should not be of 2, use 3 for safety reason. In a 3-pronged electric cord, the 3 longer prong of the cord is the ground. The other 2 prongs carry the power to the piece of the electric equipment. So in that, 3 longer prong of the cord is the ground, and then 2 carry the electric power. So one holds into the ground. So that's why it is safe. And then any electrical equipment must be inspected for safety before use. Then check the electrical cords and outlets for exposed, frayed or damaged wires. Avoid overloading any circuit. Read warning labels on all equipments. Never operate unfamiliar equipments. Never run electrical wiring under carpets, making sure that it is placed at the right side, right upper, wherever it is kept. Make sure you roll it and keep it at the side. Don't put it under the carpet. Never pull a plug by using the cord. So when it is put in the plug, don't try to pull it like this. Always grasp the plug. So go and remove the plug itself. And then never use electrical appliances near the sink because water will be there, bathtub or other water sources. Always disconnect the plug from the outlet before cleaning equipment. So you're going to clean equipment, make sure that you unplug it and you clean it. If the client receives an electric shock, turn off the electricity before touching the patient. So go turn out the knob of the electricity before we touch the patient. Otherwise, it will be transmitted to the other person. So you will also be under shock. So radiation safety. So how do we do that? So we should know the protocol and safety measures of healthcare agency. Then label potentially radioactive material. Then monitor radiation exposure with a film badge. So they'll give you a badge as per, as a staff. If you are getting exposed, the color will change. So they will not post you back to the same radiation ward. Okay, so label potentially radioactive material, which active radioactive material you are using, that should be labeled. And then place a client who has radiation implant in private room. So when they have a radioactive implant, it will emit radiation, so that it will be affecting the nurses or doctors when they are going. Okay, or no visitors should be encouraged. So make sure that you keep them in a private room. So usually when somebody wants to go, we have to give them lead apron so they don't receive the radiation. To reduce exposure to radiation, do the following, that is limit the time spent near the source. So don't stand wherever radiation is there. Make the distance from the source as great as possible. Use a shielding device such as lead aprons. Okay, so these are the things that we have to keep in mind when we are dealing for radiation safety. Then disposable of infectious waste. So we have to handle all infectious materials as hazard. So we have to treat it in such a way that all are poisonous, all are hazardous. Then dispose of weight in designated areas only, using proper containers for disposal. And then ensure the infected material is labeled properly. Needle should be recapped, bent or broken. Dispose all the sharps immediately after use in close puncture resistant disposal container that are leak proof and labeled or color coded. So according to the color code, you will have to dispose it. If there is any infectious thing, mark it and keep. So usually for hepatitis B or patients with patients with hepatitis B or patients with AIDS, usually we keep separate bag itself for them because it is contaminated. Okay, so that it does not cause harm. So like that, separate bag should be maintained, and then make sure that it is leak proof and it is color coded. Okay, so next we will see measures to prevent fall. So how do we prevent fall? So assign the client at risk for falling to a room near the nurses station. So whoever is risk at falling, make sure that they are very close to the nurses station. Alert all personnel clients risk for falling. Tell them that there could be risk of falling. Inform to all the personnel. Orient of the patient's risk. Okay, he might be old age or very debilitated, so inform that he is prone to fall. Orient the client to physical surroundings, show him everything. Explain the use of call bell system. If any need, he can just press the call bell and somebody will be there to help him out. Keep the bed in low position with side rails if required. Put side rails and keep the patient at low. Then lock all the beds. So you should be very careful, when we have this specialized bed, when we are trying to move, many times we will forget in the hospital to lock the cot. So you should be careful that you lock the wheelchair, you lock the stretcher, the bed, the cot. Okay, so if you are going to just shift the patient, if you are not locking, okay, it will be like this, just you will have to press it. Okay, so at the end near the wheel, if you don't lock it, then when you try to put the patient, the stretcher will start moving and it can cause fall. So you have to be very careful that you lock it and you use it. Then lock all the beds, wheelchairs and stretchers. Eliminate clutter and obstacles in the client's room. Whatever is not required, put it aside. Provide adequate lighting, reduce bathroom hazards, make sure that it is dry. Okay, if it is always watery and if it is, like it can actually, patient can skate and fall. Okay, and then maintain the client's toileting schedule throughout the day. So know when the patient is going to use the washroom, that we has to be known. Then restraints. So restraints, we know that when patient, it acts as a protective device, and when patients are very restless or trying to run out of the bed or trying to pull a ventilator tubing, okay, so that's when we restrain the patient. Okay, restraints are protective devices used to limit physical activity of a client or to immobilize an extremity. In case of IV line or for a child, and then you have mummy restrain, we do it, right? And then you have for fractures we do restrain, that is fine. Apart from that, for old people or people on ventilator, when they're a little restless, when they want to pull out the vein, pull out the line from the vein or from an artery, or take out the intubation that we have done for the patient, also we restrain. So physical restraint means we apply through a device, okay, and then that is you put on the hand or the leg. Then chemical restraints are medication. Sometimes you give all the sedatives are given, narcotics to put the patient to sedation. That is also plays an restraint. Okay, so prevention of accident in case of older client due to physiological changes, old age people. So you have to provide safe environment for old client, never leave them alone. Okay, next you have safety prevention of risk taker adolescent. So adolescent have a natural urge to experiment and they like to be very independent, so you have to reinforce instruction about the dangers that is related to cigarette smoking, caffeine ingestion, alcohol and drugs. That should not be done in the hospital, and they should not do it also, as it actually leads to ill health. And then ensure the adolescent uses a seat belt. Okay, so this is in case, okay, when he's going to use his car, that time we can tell him that he has to use seat belt. Then instruct the adolescent in case of any injury of motor vehicle accident not to ride the bike in very high speed. Okay, instruct adolescent in water safety. Many times we get to see that they go for all this with friends they go, and sometimes they are getting drowned, so that has to be told to them, not going very in depth in the water. And then instruct adolescent about the dangers associated with guns, violence and gangs, to have good friendship, not to use any of these guns or drugs, not getting into any kind of violence. Okay, instruct adolescent about the complication associated with body piercing, tattooing, sun tanning. They do sun tanning, tattooing, TATTOING, tattooing. Again, you see it actually leads to skin cancer. Sometimes it becomes a source, it leads to infection. And when they do tattooing, they cannot give even blood transfusion cannot be done, okay, for a year or two. Okay, so it has got its own disadvantages. So telling them not to do all these, and discuss issues such as date rape, sexual relationship, asking them to maintain integrity. Okay, so you should tell them there is an age for everything. Okay, and sexual relationship is something very pious, right? It is not about Indian culture. Yes, a culture, as well as according to God's standard also, there is a way, right? So that has to be told to them. And transmission of sexually transmitted diseases, using of condoms. Okay, so that has to be taught to them at the earlier stage. Okay, then prevention of accident in age of infant, toddler, preschool, school going on. So this we know already, you have studied in pediatrics. And safety measures during any flood, earthquake, disaster. Okay, so all these things are the various safety measures. So the next video we will see how to prevent in case of any infections. Okay, and infection control program in the hospital.